Ladies, 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 gentlemen, gentlemen, gentlemen. My name is Keenan Lafferty, and this is the Can Kale Emma Stream Day 5. Today we are going to be working more on the comic. As usual, thank you guys so much for showing up early and for all the awesome things that we get to do before the actual show starts. Unfortunately, the people that will be watching this on YouTube will not be able to see the funny things that happened prior to this. But hey, that's special things that were meant for your eyes only, and hopefully do not really. What happens on the K and Kale stream stays on the K and Kale stream, right? Exactly. So, such as drinking this water. Gotta love it. Lovely. So yes, as I was saying, today we are graced by the presence of Rin the Yordle, the amazing fan artist lady. She is here in the stream. She basically came over and took over the show, so thank you so much for coming in and doing that, Rin. But it is so nice to have you all here. I'm super excited for what we're going to be doing today. So, and as you can see, we got some amazing things going on here. But before we actually jump into Photoshop and begin coloring, or not coloring necessarily, we may get to the coloring. But today we're going to be focusing on coloring the backgrounds, or rather shading the backgrounds with black and white usage only, focusing on values, right? And then we're going to basically put gradient overlays on top of it. But one thing that I want to talk about really quickly is I really am enjoying, and I really want to post this on here, this is very relevant, because on the Can Kale fan art page, or the Can Kale fan page on Facebook, we have these awesome Emma fan arts that are starting to come in. So I'm very, very appreciative of these, and I would absolutely love to see more of them. So yeah, I'm just telling you, this is actually one of my favorite things to get, and if you guys are feeling up to it, then yeah, draw some more pictures of Emma. And I'd really, really appreciate that. So, with all that out of the way, I think we can go ahead and jump right into Photoshop. Why not? Why not? Let's get started. So today has been actually a very precarious day, filled with lots of work. I was working on this a lot today, and just trying to get things figured out. But I think things are heading in a good direction. And yesterday you saw I was experimenting with a new technique that I was going to be using for drawing the faces, right? I was experimenting with a new technique, basically where I would take the layout, drawing basically what was behind it, and then I just darken it to black, and then I kind of just clean it up. Because I don't know, I'm a really picky person, and I like my faces, like, I'll find myself oftentimes comparing them, like with the sketch layer. Sometimes there's like a certain character to the sketch that I'll lose when I go to like the clean lines, you know, whether it's just like some little, you know, things under the eye, or just like, I think that like the smallest things, the smallest changes in a face can really affect the exact expression that you're trying to convey with your character. So I've been trying that technique out where I'll just take the sketch basically and then darken it and then clean it up, whereas everything else will be lined as usual, doing the traditional line art technique. Oh yes, and one more thing. You guys have been bugging me so much about uploading my brushes that I went ahead and I decided to take you to Yahoo. Okay, let's go here. I decided to go ahead and upload my brushes for you guys. So if you want to check that out, my DeviantArt name is Knockwurst, and the latest thing that I just posted up, it'll say my brushes, right? It'll be a picture of Emma, but if you hit download file, if you hit right here, if you hit download file, it'll actually download my brushes, and you can use them for yourself, and you can start making your own comics. Isn't that nice? Isn't that just touching? Touching. So yes, yeah, I've been feeling quite giving, you know, given the season that's happening. This is the time of giving. And you guys just were persistent enough that it bugged me. I was like, oh, all right, I'll do it. And it literally took me like 5 minutes. I don't know why I was making such a big deal about it before. So, all right. So wait, is everything Is everything going okay? I'm seeing some people saying the screen's blank. Everything okay? Please give me a thumbs up or say something. Okay, it looks like we're getting some comments. You guys can actually see what's going on. Okay, that was gonna freak me out. Okay, so we got sound. I'm gonna shrink myself down a little bit more. I don't need to be that big. This is the content. Content is here. You were looking here, not here, hopefully. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into my basic thing, how I go about masking and coloring these things. So the first thing I do is actually, you'll notice that I have the panels on one layer, right? I have the character on a separate layer. And then I have the background on another layer behind it, right? You take away, and all there is these are like the important elements. Like everything that actually gets lined is either the actual character itself or anything that that character is interacting with, such as, the little hammock that, she's resting in. Obviously, I'd line that, but, the post that it's connected to is not as important. So I almost think of it as like an old cartoon. You could almost tell which things were going to be animated because they kind of had like that cell look to them, and they were kind of outlined. So I'm kind of going for a little bit of that feel. And then the background elements are simply just gray lines that I'll set to multiply. And then those will come into play in just a moment because we will be shading in the background, basically setting in our values and beginning work on color. And I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, I know I can do this, but up till now I've only really colored one panel. So today might be a little bit of an experimentation, but that's okay because I believe in just doing things, and if they don't turn out right, then you just fix them later. So anything that you see in today's stream, it may change, and don't get mad if it's like I release it and it's different, because it'll always, if I do change it, it's because I thought it could be better. But the point is that you will get to see my creation and my experimental process. And it'll also show you that, people just aren't invincible as much as they want to be. As much as people want to be invincible, they are not. Alright, so the first thing I do is actually I'll go through and I'll color the panels. I actually pick like this color right here. It's not exactly white, but it's just a little ways down, right? I'll make the selection and then I'll fill that selection, right? And this is, again, another layer behind everything. And I'll go ahead and I'll just go in and start selecting my panels. Alright? Selecting panels, filling it in. That's pretty simple, right? And what this is going to act as is sort of like a panel mask. Right? So basically I'm going to say, or I'll show you exactly what's going to happen. And this comes in handy with the sketches behind it, right? Because you'll notice there's some infidelities. Like here, see this? Like right here and there. Those things will get taken care of momentarily, and I'll show you how. Okay. I think the people that are behind that may have seen the blank screen, people who may have seen the blank screen is if you're behind, like I've noticed this, if you're watching the stream and you're behind a few seconds, like if I cut the stream, it doesn't wait for you to catch up to whatever was being said before I cut it. It actually just cuts the stream right there. So that's why at the end of the stream I've been playing our original soundtrack, which you may have heard, and I'll be playing that again at the end of today's episode. The original soundtrack for Emma that I had written for me by my good friend Christian Link, who works at Riot. And yeah, that just allows the stream to go for like another extra minute, and that way it doesn't cut off people's heads, because that is nice. Okay, so now that we have the panels laid in, right? Now check this out. All of these things, in fact, I'll just do this to demonstrate it even further. So say I had a sketch going on, right? So say I had a sketch going on. I don't know why this stupid wheel is there, man. I don't like it. I don't use it. I don't like it. I want it to go away. I was doing just fine with the Intuos too. Why did I have to go mess it up? Okay, so let's say like the sketch is happening. There's just all this like garbage and stuff like in between the lines here, right? There's just like all these things over here, you know, little sketches, you know, things like that, right? Well, the nice thing about creating these panel masks is what I do is I draw them on the wrong layer and realize I need to go back. Then what I do is I go to the right layer, do the same thing, right? And then all I do is between this layer and this layer, I will hold Alt, click, and then basically it creates a clipping mask, and all of the sketch lines can only exist within those panels that I just laid down. So, there you go. And that is why we create panel masks. Then the next thing we move on to is going to be... let's move into our character masks, and then we will go into the background values. So, basically, same thing. I'll go ahead and create another layer. Create another layer over here. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start masking the character. So, and this is, I used to do it in a way where I would actually grab like a paintbrush and I would go ahead and basically start painting the color into the character. But I quickly grew to dislike that because it's just like that constant pressure just like moving, you know, painting and stuff. It totally messes with my wrist. I don't know what's up with my wrist. I think it just might be, I don't know, maybe it's like hereditary or something. But my wrist is just very, very finicky. It's a spoiled diva, and it likes to be treated just the way it wants. Otherwise, it throws a fit, and it says, nope, I don't feel like drawing today. But then you realize that you don't have much of a choice because, you know, you want to make the freaking comic. And yeah, so you do it anyway, and then it just, you end up possibly running the risk of injuring yourself. And that's not good. You want to try to avoid that. Because when you're injured, you're working at 0% efficiency. And I'm an efficient man. If things are not efficient, they get thrown out my car window. Such as my music CDs that I don't like to listen to anymore. I really do that. I'll just be like, I'll be listening to something, I'll be like, I don't really like this. And I'll just like eject it, and it's like, and then I just roll down my window, go like that, right out the window. And yes, that is littering, which is quite bad. But maybe what I should do is, hey, you know, I'm a big like entrepreneur, man. I like to think of products, right? What if you developed biodegradable CDs? You can sell them to all kinds of crappy artists. You'd be like, hey, you're not too satisfied with your album? Make sure you put it on a biodegradable CD, because you gotta think about nature, man. You gotta think about the joy that people get when they throw things out of their car windows. Whether they are CDs or small dogs or food, it's all fun. And you gotta think about how that's gonna affect global warming and the atmosphere and all that stuff. I'm just trying to be sensitive, okay? Detective Sundancer. I think, yes, the stream that everybody, I think everybody's viewing the stream at like different intervals, so I think some people might be seeing it a little bit closer to live. I know the closest you can get to actually what I am saying at this moment is probably about 4 or 5 seconds later. Whereas some people get interrupted with commercials every few minutes, and I think that might push them further back. Which really sucks. But we all know there are remedies for that. Whatever way you choose to take care of that is up to you. Again, I'm not making any money off these ads, so as far as I'm concerned, you can do what you want with them. Okay, so, but if I was making money off them, you guys better not be blocking them. That's just rude. I have ads to show you. If I have ads to show you, you better listen. Because I want you to buy that dog food. I want you to buy that deodorant. Okay, so basically all I've done here is I've lassoed that out, but now I have all this extra stuff, right? All this like garbage down here. So all I do is I take the rectangular marquee tool and I'll Alt select, bam, takes care of all of that all at once, right? Look at that. Now I'll go ahead and just go in and whoops. Go ahead and just kind of clean this up. And then witness the marvel. Witness the amazingness that is about to happen. We'll shift F5 to fill. Bam! Look at that. And then I'll go ahead and select my ink brush from my uploaded brushes that I sent to knockwurst@deviantart.com. From now on, I do not have to be bothered by people asking for those. I'll just go in here and just kind of look for little things like, look at that. You see that? That cannot exist. Not in this world. Take care of that immediately. That was a close one. All right, tragedy averted. And then sometimes when there's things like going on behind the character, sometimes I'll choose to actually make another mask behind it just to help separate things. You know, it might not be super needed, but it just kind of helps, like, because this is like a big, like, especially when it has to do with the character and there's something happening behind it. Like, say two characters are overlapping, I'll create two masks for them, right? So I don't like to like go super crazy with all my layers. I like to keep it fairly simple, just because I feel like it kind of makes it easier on my tiny brain, right? My tiny artist brain. Or rather, my genius brain that has very selective retention qualities, right? You got to think about that. Must be thinking about that. Who? Oh, oh, I love looking at the chat, you guys. I gotta be careful. No! I must resist the temptation. Because, like, when I upload it to YouTube, it's just me doing this. And then I sit there for like 5 seconds, or like 20 seconds. It's like, so I'm trying to limit my chat viewing, at least until the end. Like, I'll take quick glances at it just so I can see if anything is going terribly wrong, or people posting in comments about how the dogs are going crazy yesterday. That was awesome. I should have paid attention to that. It was literally like blocked out of my mind. I was like in the zone. I was in the streaming zone, and I was like, nothing will stop me. Nothing will sway me. Because, you know, I'm trying to get better at this. As funny as it sounds, I've been doing the Kane Kale show for so long, I figured it's like, a stream? That's nothing. Stream is so much easier than actually doing a prepared show, right? Prepared tutorial, but actually streaming is very, very challenging. But I think the challenge is to, you know, because I want to give like a personal experience, right? You are invited into my room. This is you watching me, creating my passion. But at the same time, you want to be, you know, entertaining. You don't want to like just sit there or like have the stream be me just listening to music while like I'm completely silent. I don't know, maybe some people would like that, but for me, I'm a talker, so I like to talk. Okay, so we got that taken care of there. So I'll tell you what, because I really, really badly, yeah, exactly, right? The other challenge about streaming is you make a mistake, it's like it's out there forever. It's out there forever. Or someone will take a screenshot. Even if you delete it, somebody will have taken a screenshot and they will post it somewhere. They will blackmail you with it. So you gotta be really careful. So, out of interest of showing the actual coloring process today, we have, we're making good time. We got 40 minutes left. I'll go ahead and mask this next panel, and then we'll actually move straight into, actually ask you guys, would you like to see me color this panel right here, panel 1, or panel 2? Basically, you'll get more of the character coloring in this one, whereas with this one, you'll get more of how I lay out the backgrounds and how I'll color the backgrounds, right? And I'll do a little bit of character coloring, here. So please post a panel 1 or panel 2, and then I will color said panel for you. You guys get to control the show. Control the show on demand. On demand, right? That's awesome. Interactive. That's what's cool about the stream that you don't get with the Kay and Kale show. Stream, you can literally tell me what to do. Literal. I don't even know what I just said. Literally tell me what to do. Sundancer. Your votes count for triple. Oh, okay. Sounds like everybody wants number 1. Oh, okay. Roman wants panel 2. Okay. Getting a lot of panel 1s. Okay. How about when I'm looking at the chat, I'll like dance or do something or run in place. That way people that are watching us on YouTube will have something to look at. I got some people saying 2. Oh, okay, now you're all saying 2. Okay, I see what it is. You guys all just want to be different. You all just want to be the unique one. You're the anti-bandwagoners. That's what you guys are. You're the people that put the nails in the bandwagon wheels. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? The anti-bandwagoners. Is what is this? Okay. I still think there's more panel 1s than panel 2s. So I think we might be doing panel 1. Plus, I think it might be a little easier. Yeah. Yeah, it might be a little easier. So I think we'll do that one. I have made a decision we will do panel 1. But I will still go ahead and mask this because, yes. Because I said I would. And I'm a man of integrity. Rin, you seriously do sing-alongs? Like, that's awesome. But I don't sing along very well. I don't sing Disney songs or other sing-along songs very well. So I think I might leave that one to you. I would love to see that, by the way. We could do a duet. Ren, you and I could do a duet. We could sing A Whole New World. That's one of my favorite ones. A Whole New World from Aladdin. Man, that's been a long time since I've seen that. Like, I love that game. That movie. But I also loved the game that came out for Sega Genesis. How many of you guys remember that? That was back when movie games came out for consoles, and they were actually good. Like, they were really legitimately good. And the Aladdin one for Sega was just really well put together, and whatever happened to that? Why are all the movie games now just complete pieces of crap? What happened? What happened, huh? Oh. Yes! I am definitely not confident enough to sing yet. I used to be in a band, but no. Singing on the stream, that's a little scary. It's a little scary. I don't know what the repercussions of that would be. I have to do some research. I have to do some research. Although some of you have seen me sing some things, such as the Earthworm Jim 2 theme song. That was good. That was tons of fun. Speaking of games that have lost their glory, Earthworm Jim, whatever happened to that? Like, why? Oh yeah, the Lion King Sega game. Oh, that was so good. It was just so good. Like the animations and the everything, like the level designs were fun. It was just like there was so much thought, and they were great just as standalone games. Like there could have not even been a movie made out of them. They could have had the game. No, no. Here's what happens today: is like movies are being made from games and comics, right? And there's no more. Oh, you know what my favorite is? My favorite is when they do the movie, the game, right? It's a book, then it's a movie, then it's a game. So the game basically comes out and it's called the movie, the game, and that is really, really that always cracks me up every time I see that. So I'm like, oh yeah, about that. Just looks so dumb. It's like screaming, "This product is diluted." Might as well call it the diluted after, I don't know, the diluted toilet remains. I don't know what you want to call it. Oh man. Oh, I'm messing up my mask. Messing it up. Oh man. Telverin, I'm trying to figure out what your what your icon is. Looks like Cassiopeia, right? But it looks like something's on her head. Is that? It looks like something that I saw on the K and Kale page, but maybe not. It's totally humor. The movie, the game, the book, the comic, the game, the movie, the book. uh, the comic. That's one of the reasons why I decided to. I'm changing or I'm going to be redoing the banner on the Emma comic page, right? Because right now the banner says Emma, the online comic, right? But I don't want that to be the subtitle, right? Because if this goes, like, when it goes to print, which I eventually would love it to, I don't want it to be called Emma, the online comic. It needs to be something else. So I was thinking, since this is sort of borrowing from, it's basically created in an American format, right? But it's borrowing heavily from Eastern styles, right? Because it's kind of anime. So I was thinking it would be cool if it kind of had like one of those silly, cheesy Asian movie names. You know how it's like giant robot versus something versus King Kong or whatever. I don't know. And so I want the subtitle for Emma to be Little Girl versus The Walking Dead, and I just think that's really funny because, and there's actually there's a double reason why I'm doing that. Because in the world of search engine optimization, when people type in certain words into Google, it will give them certain web pages, right? And one of the biggest things out right now, as far as zombies go, is The Walking Dead, as you know, right? So I figured, hey, you know what's really cool? I was actually taking a little like online class, and it basically has you download a piece of software that allows you to kind of search what people search in Google. And I noticed that a lot of people type in, The Walking Dead comic online, free, especially. But unfortunately, there's not a place where you can legally read it for free. So I figured, hey, there's all these people looking for a free online zombie comic, looking for The Walking Dead. So hey, that would be kind of cool if I could take advantage of that. Maybe I could put like something having to do with The Walking Dead because that's not like it wasn't made up for the series. The Walking Dead is a common thing to call a zombie, right? So I was like, hey, maybe I can make that the subtitle. It could be Little Girl versus Walking Dead. Versus Walking Dead. And she has much discipline. Much discipline. So, that's where that idea came from. Wow, masking ladders is like one of the funnest things in the world. I don't know why more people don't do this. I do not know why more people don't do this. This is seriously like, ugh. Ugh. Yeah, I'll just do it this way. I gotta see what you guys do. Giant beanstalk. See, this is why I gotta be careful about when I look over this chat window because you guys, man, you guys are so funny. Emma, the comic, the book, the show, the movie, the end. More like the beginning. Little girl Emma-san. That's awesome. Oh man. Oh, you guys are awesome. I might take that one too. Little girl Emma-san. I'm just punchy. I think I'm a little punchy today too. I've been playing a little bit of Torchlight 2, you know, because as much as I love working on comics, I believe in having a good balance between work and play, right? So, because of the Steam sale, you know, all these games going on sale, my buddy got Torchlight 2, right? Because we were so disappointed with Diablo 3. And see, it's almost hard for me to even speak the name, as you know. Back when we were doing the pool parties, I was telling everybody, I was like, don't tell me you don't have room to install World of Warcraft to join me at this pool party, right? Because I know you have Diablo 3, delete that game, it sucks. And so, with all the disappointment of that, he said, well, hey, try this out. You know, a lot of people are saying it's, you know, it's doing what Diablo 3 should have done, and, you know, it plays a lot like it, and, you know, it's really good, and we can play together, so why not? I love co-op games. And I've been searching for another game to kind of fill the void that is left by League de Leyendos. You know, because I'm kind of taking a break from that for right now. Because I want to explore my other options as far as games go. So anyway, where was I getting? What was I getting at with that? Yes, I believe there is a good mix or a good balance to be had between work and play. So, yeah. I don't know exactly where I was going with that. But, yeah. Take that. How to Make a Girl Cry: The Adventure. These are all good. I really actually like all these subtitles, guys. Thank you. And you know what would be funny is, you know, because they got like, you know, like I always look at these. Like I bought a bunch of comics at here. Actually, I'll go to this other thing. When I was at Kamikaze, I actually bought all these, you know, little comics, and this one's called I, Vampire. And notice how this has like the little, you know, subtitle right here, right? War of the Undead. And this one's called At the Mercy of Stormwatch, you know, but it's also I, Vampire. So that'd be funny if I could come up with a couple funny little subtitles or like, not subtitles, but the, I guess they would be subtitles for like each issue. That'd be funny. And one of them could be called Little Girl Emma-san. But I wouldn't want to be offensive to people. It's not because I'm making fun of them, it's because I think they're awesome. I love Asian accents. And, I mean, look, the whole comic is inspired by Asian art, so don't even give me that. Don't even give me like, I'm offended. I'm offended by that. Ah, yes! Moving on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and move on into the colors for panel 1. Panel 1. What do you guys? Oh. Bethany, don't worry. That is what the archive on YouTube is for. Although you probably won't be able to join in the sing-along at the end of it, but that's okay. No sing-alongs. That is not, I don't do that. Well, maybe not this week. Maybe sometime. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move into the background, right? We're going to begin setting in the values. And it's going to be awesome. You want to know why? because I said so. There you go. All right, so first thing we're going to do is create another layer between, remember, our panel mask here and our sketch lines, right? We're going to create another thingy in here. Now all we are going to do is basically take our renderer brush, right here. We're going to go ahead and start laying in our values, okay? So one thing that I know I want to happen is, I'm a whole new world. One thing I know I want to happen, no, don't tempt me. One thing I know I want to be happening here is she's waking up, right? She's kind of like clutching her blanket because she's scared, and like there's some light coming in through like a crack in the door or whatever, right? So I know that there's going to be, it's going to be very dark, right, inside the barn at this moment in time. So let's go ahead and just start with a dark color, and let's go ahead and paint in lights. Let's go ahead and do that. Start with this. We'll go ahead and paint in the light. Paint in the light. Okay. So we'll go ahead and start back here, right? And notice how quickly this is actually going to take shape. Notice how quickly. And okay, another thing I gotta do is I'm gonna go ahead and darken this a little bit more. So I want this to be quite dark, as well as this here. Both of these should be very dark. Okay, because this is just giving us a basic idea of what we want the correlation and the contrast of the character value to the background value. Okay, I hope that made sense. If not, then you need to watch the tutorial on values, where I talk all about that. Basically, it's just making sure the character reads clearly off of the background, right? Because if they're the same value, and you're looking at the comic from like, you know, I want my comic to be able to be read from like 5 feet away, right? You could like set it on your bed and like sit in your chair. I don't know why you would read a comic like that, but I want you to be able to do that, because if it's clear from a far ways away, then it will be very clear from close up, and that always enhances the experience. If you don't have to like open it up and you're like, whoa, what's happening here? Okay, I see an arm and a leg. I think that's some guy's head there. Oh, okay, they're actually fighting. Okay. Because I have had that experience with a couple other comics, and I don't really like that or believe in that. What are you guys talking about? Yes, detective, you are a detective. Clearly. That is why it is your name, because yes, you're right. It is a fraction of my productivity. But that's because the stream is not so much about getting things done. It's about, whoop! It's about messing around and having fun, right? And that's kind of what life is about too. That's one thing I've been learning about life in general and making comics. Comics, I really believe that if you're doing it out of passion, should not be about trying to get things perfect or really, you gotta have a healthy work ethic, but make sure that in the end you're really having fun. You know? If you're not having fun doing your passion, then something's wrong. Something is terribly wrong. Okay, so as you can see, that's the basic value for what's going to be going on, right? So let us go ahead and throw in a little bit of a gradient here for the roof. Or wait a minute. No, let's actually make the wall a little bit darker, right? Because we want this to be, let's think about like reflected light. It's going to be going down, reflecting up a little bit, right? And the darkest area is going to be right around here. And then a very bright area will be right there, the roof, picking up the reflected light from the bottom. I'm just making stuff up to sound smart. Okay. Moving on. Let's go ahead and brighten this up a little bit back here. Let's push the value. In general, I like to push the values lighter as things go back into space. Back into time and space, right? Because it just helps reinforce what's going on. Or, if anything, the shadows get darker. Shadows always get darker as they get closer to you because there's less atmosphere, right? There's less atmosphere obscuring it. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. However, this over here is not thinking about consistency, right? Look at this line, right? Look at the angle of this roof. That is not the angle of this roof. We need to fix that immediately. We need to rectify that immediately. Unacceptable. So we'll go ahead and just do that really quick. What are you guys doing here? Joking? Whew! Yes, it could be made out of mirrors. Could be. You don't know that. Light absorbent fiberglass. Okay. All right. Moving on. Again, we are experimenting today, people. We are experimenting. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're experimenting with things. Okay? So, let's go ahead and throw in a little bit of light on this pilar. A little bit of light on that pilar. Well, wait. Why not? Why not? Okay. So, as I wipe my nose furiously, let's go ahead and move into the painting. So basically, all I do here is I create another layer over top of the lines, over top of these lines right here. And this is going to be the painting layer, as I like to call it. Basically, I'll go in and I'll start refining and cleaning up shapes. Right? So this allows me to go in here and be like, I don't want those lines there, let's get rid of those, because I want the backgrounds to retain a sense of being painted, right? And not so much having like these lines in them. There can be lines, but not exactly like that. But the nice thing is working like this is, look, I can paint directly behind, or I can paint directly over top of Emma, right? And then it just basically only registers with me working on the background. And that is awesome. 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 Now let's think about the ambient occlusion that's happening with this hammock, right? Think about that. Think about the shadows it's going to be casting. Okay? Think about it. No, really. Sit down and think about it. And then when you're done, come back and talk to me. And then we draw it in here. I actually feel like I like streaming me doing the shading more than anything. I feel like my most confident when I'm doing this. The lines and everything, it's like, ugh. I don't even really know what I'm doing. It's like, okay, oh no, that looks terrible, and everybody saw that. Oh, jeez. And then I gotta pretend like I know what I'm doing. Be like, nope, I meant to do that. I meant to do that because it was an experiment. The light source is actually just fairly ambient. GG Strato. It's fairly ambient. Think of it as like the barn doors, right? There's a light coming in that's being cast right through the center right here, almost, right? So when I color this, there'll be like a line of light going through here. So basically what's happening here is just kind of like the ambient stuff that's hitting the ground, and it's kind of just like radiating throughout the barn. But there'll also be like a little, like maybe like a hole in the roof or something like over here, right? That'll kind of create like a spotlight, right? So we don't need to worry so much about that affecting everything around here, right? It might be affecting it a little bit, but mostly everything that's happening within the barn is almost like a very subtle ambient low light. In case you want to know. you don't like it, then say something. And I'll change it later when no one's looking. Yes, lots of underlighting. Underlighting being summoned from the hay bales. The bottom of the barn. Maybe what I'll do is like, I'm kind of toying around with this idea. Maybe I'll put like some little cracks in the roof like that, you know, and like have the light kind of like, ooh, that's neat. Yeah, like it won't look like that. I'm just kind of exploring some things. Maybe there could be like one of those or something. Maybe that's kind of what's shining on her. I don't know. I don't know. Again, experimenting. I actually do like what that did though, so maybe we will do something kind of like that. I like the balance that was striking. Because as we know, it's all about balance. Balance in all things. Do the pandas say that? Is that what pandas say that in WoW? I only got to level 86 and I was like, okay, I'm done. There goes $60. Oh, that felt good. Okay, so I'm liking this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is, let's see. Oh, it does say balance on all things. Oh, okay, cool. Emma-san. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Skylight on the roof in the back, letting the sunlight seep into the scene. Yeah, you know, I kind of do like when I put this in, I kind of did like it. A little bit of this happening here. I kind of like that. Like, that creates a nice, even just those two little lines, creates a nice little bit of ambience. Kind of puts a nice, I don't know, like balance to it. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I like it. I like it, and I'm going to use it. Emma-san. Emma-san. Little girl Emma-san. What was it? What did we say? What was the one thing we were saying for that? Little girl Emma-san. Let's go ahead and draw in a couple more of these little things here, right? Just to put a little bit of interest back in the background. You know, we don't want it to be too boring. But we don't want it to be too complicated, right? Oh, yeah, good thinking. Yes, definitely. There will be some ambient stuff, like dust particles. Yes. Yes. Brilliant. Dust. Yes. Oh. No, that doesn't look great. I will do something like that, but I think I need to, that might be more of like a post effect. The way I'd go into doing that is possibly create another layer over top of it. Take a soft brush such as this. And then probably do something along the lines of like this, like creating this bloom here. Oops. Probably do something along these lines, like create a bloom like this. And then within that bloom we will have, actually maybe I should do that right now. I don't know. In that bloom we will have the dust particles. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Actually, I really like that. Good idea. Good idea, my friend. Thank you. I will actually go ahead and keep that. I actually really like this a lot. Stealing it. better watch out. Like, if you have a good idea, I will take it. I will take it. I will run with it. And then when somebody asks me who came up with that, I'll be like, none other than Detective. None other than Mr. Detective himself. Okay, so it's looking pretty cool. Okay. So I'm liking the values we've got going here, right? And it's a nice painterly feel we've got going on with the background. So let's go ahead and put on our colors. Let us bring color into this world. Now that we have 10 minutes left, oh man, we got to do this quick. We got to do this really quick. I may not be able to show you the entire process because I have a feeling that when I throw on the gradient map, it may not look exactly like I want it to, but it'll be a good starting point. And then, if you guys would like, I will actually save. I will save this panel for tomorrow, for us tomorrow, and we will go further into the colors. We'll take it nice and slow, nice and methodically, and you guys can watch how I will go ahead and finish this off. But let's go ahead and at least get to the gradient map stage. Then I will open the chat for a few minutes to Q&A, and then we will conclude day 5 of the KNKLM stream. Okay? Okay. Thank you guys so much for your crazy interaction today, man. I feel like you guys are like awake. Not that I usually feel like you're asleep, but you know, I feel like I'm awake. I just feel so like on it, you know? I just feel good. Feel good. Really good. Really good. Really, really, really good. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Gradient map, come to us. Come to us, gradient map. One moment. Why is that not working? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Whew. I thought I messed something up. Detective. Yes. Detective. Detective's the party animal today. Detective, did you go to the pool parties? You should have been at the pool parties. If not, I'm offended. All right, come to us, gradient map. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so we're basically going to be collapsing this. Ooh. That's ugly. Let's go ahead and duplicate this just in case we need to go back. Oh, wait a minute. No, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. All we need to do is actually just select this entire thing. And let's create a new layer. Adjustment layer. Gradient map. Bam! Bam! You go there. And let's go ahead and hit OK. Oh, you can clipping mask the gradient map. That's great. Alright guys, so now we get to have our fun. Get to basically choose our colors and watch as it instantly updates in the background. Right? So let's say we want to go for like that Skyfall color scheme when they're in the, you know, the actual house, right? So it's kind of like blues and stuff, and then let's go ahead and like have the lighter areas go kind of like a grayish blue, like that, right? And then we'll have the actual light. Whoops. We'll have the actual light because it is supposed to be like morning time. So let's go ahead and push it to like a orange, right? Or maybe like a grayish yellow. Ooh, that looks pretty cool. Say, how about that? Looks okay. And again, this is just the basic idea, getting the basic idea down for our background. But basically, you see how easy that was? We laid out our color map and our values, and then we got to I was going to say check and pick at the same time. I just said check. Isn't that awesome? We get to check them. We get to check the box for which color we would like to implement. There we go. There, now I sounded smart. Whoa! Whoa. So as you can see, basically you select your values, and then you go ahead and put in your gradient map, and then that adds color to your scene, right? And then you're ready to begin coloring your character. I actually really like that. That's pretty cool. And then you can go in, basically say you wanted to do an overpaint. Say there's something like really important that needs to be red in some area that's in the background. Just kind of pick a good color that would make something appear red in this environment. All right. Say there's like a fire hydrant over here, right? Let's go ahead and draw a fire hydrant. Because that is out of its element, because it shouldn't appear blue and it won't affect everything else the same way. You know, you can just overpaint stuff and basically just create whatever you want. Yeah? No smoking, right? Because that leads to fires. And then you can basically grab things like this, make it shiny. Oh! So that's basically how I'm going to go about making the backgrounds. So again, they're not super complicated. They're just enough to get the idea across, and they're fun and simple and something that I can do to add value, set mood, and other things like that. So I do kind of like the blue, but I think it might be a little bit too cold. And the nice thing about that is say we want to, this will be the last thing that we'll do on the stream, and then we'll go ahead and open the chat up to Q&A. So say we want to go back and be like, I don't really like the blues. Let's try more of a more warm color, right? Because it's more like, let's imagine it's like a dark wood, right? So let's go for like a purple, and then this will go more towards maybe a, whoa! Not that. Maybe like a deep orange. Ooh, hey, look at that. That's cool. See? Now look. Completely different vibe now, right? Interesting, huh? So you can kind of go back and forth between the two. And be like, okay, well, which one am I liking basically? And like, which color scheme do I like? What's the basic idea that I'm going for here? Does this look better or does this look better? Personally, I think that, I don't know. I kind of do like this brown one. It's kind of nice because it's still, it feels almost like the inside of a barn would in the morning, you know, with like the stuff. Maybe be a little more gray, but you get the basic idea. And suddenly there will be a fire hydrant in every panel. Of course, and I would have to go ahead and change the lighting of the fire hydrant to like a yellow, but just when you're playing around with the initial colors. That's how I'm going to do it. So tomorrow we'll actually move more into this. We'll basically have a general idea for this background, and then we'll go ahead and translate it down to this one, right? We'll do the same process down here, and I'll show you how I go into painting a more, what's the word? A more complicated or painting a panel where the background is more the central focus. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the chat for the last few minutes to our Q&A. So if you have questions, I hope you were coming up with some good questions in the last few minutes while I was saying we were going to do this. Please post them over to the nice chat panel to our right here, and I will answer your questions for a few minutes. And then I will bid thee farewell. Farewell. Until tomorrow. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. La, 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 la. Rachel is asking a supreme question. She asks, Keenan, you said you had someone help you with the story. How does that work for you? What does that do for you? Well, I would be happy to answer that question, Rachel. basically, as an artist, growing up, I always had this feeling that I always wanted to hang on to things and always like control things, right? Especially when they're my own creations. But this comic is actually a big kind of step for me, not only because I really feel like I'm pursuing my passion, right? And doing what I want to do, but I also wanted to kind of get past that feeling like I need to control everything and like it's only my idea, nobody else can tell me what to do. And I actually decided to do that in a big way by sort of relinquishing a big part of the story, basically the story, to my best friend Jake, who is his passion is literature, right? Like he writes amazing stories, he does a great job, like it's just his talent. And I feel like I want to kind of provide that opportunity to him, and it's only going to help out the comic because he's great and he has awesome ideas. So it's actually been really nice having him basically come up with all the little intricacies and like what just like how would a character react to this, and hey, what if this happens later on in the story. And I think it's actually just the little bit of time that I've spent talking with not only Jake but my other good friend David about the story has drastically changed it from originally what I wanted the comic to be. And by comparison, my original vision for the comic was just really bland, boring, and pretty stupid. Basically had all the plot of any Japanese real-time or like strategy horror game or survival horror game, right? Like a Resident Evil series type story. It was pretty bad. But since my buddy's been taking it over, it's been really good. So I'm handling it quite well. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, but just a basic idea. Yeah, he'll basically write out the script and then I'll translate it to the panels. That's kind of what we're working towards. Originally, I was kind of like writing everything, and then he was coming up with ideas. But then I was like, hey, dude, I just want you to write the entire story, and then I'll take care of the panels. Nux, as much as I'd love to tell you a ghost story, I do not have any for this moment. But I will come up with one for you. Okay, Rin is asking the question, Keenan, do you feel everyone should know Photoshop strictly, or is it okay to have other programs such as SAI, or SAI, whatever you want to call it? Rin, somebody asked something similar yesterday. I actually don't have a lot of experience with other painting tools like Painter and SAI, or that's what I call it. All I know is that if it's a program that allows you to use your tablet and it takes advantage of the pressure sensitivity, basically that's all you really need. You don't really need custom brushes. Like those are nice and everything, but I really feel like for a lot of the time when I was learning, I just got a lot of stuff done with just the basic soft and hard brushes. So I really think I think the biggest thing for me is just the pressure sensitivity. I like the feeling of the naturalness that it gives you to the strokes, stuff like that. So I don't think I think Photoshop is definitely like the top thing. Like that's what like the professional whatever software that everybody uses. But even in a place like Riot, like if you have another program that you're most comfortable working with, they would actually get that program for you, so you could use it, right? Some people were using like Sketchbook Pro and stuff like that because it had a specific set of tools that Photoshop didn't. So I think whatever program you're using, as long as it's fairly common, I don't think you're going to have a problem with like people being willing to hire you or whatever. Alrighty. I'm going to take a few more questions and then we are going to go on and say sayonara. If you get your comic printed, will you offer hand signatures? Of course I will. Of course I will be doing hand signatures. If you see me at an event or anything and you have a comic that you want me to sign, I'll absolutely be able to do that. Also, I'm planning on, once I get the store up and running, for those of you who want to help support the comic, I'll have some cool things that you'll be able to buy, posters and stuff, but you'll also be able to buy like limited edition awesome things that'll be hand signed and numbered by me. And it'll be awesome because basically I'm thinking of doing maybe just like a set of 100 of those prints and then never printing them again. So you can have something very, very cool and unique. So let us see. Rochelle is asking a good question here. She says, do you find it hard to just take a script and put it into a comic form? Does your friend give you visual cues? Yeah, we're actually, what's really nice is that we actually live in the same place together. Like, we're roommates, right? So it's actually really easy. Oftentimes, he'll actually just come up into the room while I'm working, and he'll set up like that right there. That's actually his laptop. So he'll just sit there, and we'll actually come up with stuff together, and we'll kind of bounce ideas off each other. And yeah, he will give me good visual cues and like important like facial expressions and stuff like that. We're just getting into that, and we're really starting to understand like how important it is. So yes, it is always there. Woo! Wow, 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 all right, last couple questions, and then we are done. If you ever go to cons, Detective Axon this question. If you ever go to cons and have a booth, would you be confident enough to do on-the-fly sketches? Absolutely, yeah. I mean, granted, like if people are asking for like lol characters or something, I might need to like pull up a picture on my phone. But yeah, absolutely. I love to do quick little sketches, for people. Or if they want like a character from the comic, then yeah, I'd be absolutely more than happy to do a custom quick sketch. Okay, I'm gonna take these last couple questions here. Rin, you asked a question and tell me to ignore it. I'm gonna read it really quickly anyway. I think I see exactly what you're talking about. This has been something I've been thinking, or that's been going through my head lately. You're talking about like paying attention to how like quickly things should be getting done, right? Like, and I think it really comes down to expecting more of yourself, right? Or what you're capable of. And I think that's an important thing. I'm actually really glad you touched on this, Ren. I think it's a really important thing to always have in the back of your mind. But really, when it comes down to it, is just pay really close attention to how you feel, right? Because I was actually going through this a few days ago. I was like, you know what? I really just want this comic to just come out, right? I want it to go fast. I want to just see my vision. But I think you need to just really, you said take a step back, and I think that's really a good idea to do. Like that's kind of the meat of it, is take a step back and be like, okay, really, without the comic or anything else, it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I creating this artwork? Why am I, basically you can put it to whatever you're doing, right? And really just examine that reason. And really the reason why I'm doing this is to tell a story and to just have fun. Like, I'm creating this because I want to create it. It's for me. So honestly, as long as it's just getting done at a steady pace, I can't really predict exactly when I'm going to be able to release the 10-page increments right now. I know that 3 weeks is definitely, like, it can be done within that time. I'd like to eventually get it down closer to 2 weeks. But really just always have that question in the back of your mind, is like, why am I doing this? And if the answer is you're doing it because you want to get joy out of it, or you're doing it from passion, which should be the reason, then if you're pushing yourself to the point where you're starting to lose that drive and that fun, and you feel like it's just not good, right? If you're not having fun doing it, then that's a problem that's actually starting to form, and you need to make sure that you take a step back and take a rest, or just do what I do. I actually schedule times where I'll take a break and I'll actually go ride my bike for like 40 minutes down to the local community college, and they have this awesome dirt trail. It's just a nice way to kind of get outside, get some fresh air, and it's actually very inspiring just to, I'm be drawing a lot of outside scenes with trees and buildings, and it's kind of cool to just pay attention to like how like the hills, it's not just like a flat ground with some houses on it, right? There's like hills and just roads that like wind through things, and fences, and it's just like there's tons of things that really kind of inspire you. So that was a good question, therefore it gets a long answer. Okay, last question. The last question was down here from Michael. Keenan, if you would like some music for your website for this comic, would you be interested in that? I'm always up for anything that people want to submit as far as fan-made creations. If it's music, that's great. If it's art, that's awesome. I was talking about something yesterday where I was like, if you want to draw like a zombie version of yourself or just like a cool zombie and submit it to either the Emma Facebook, preferably to the Emma Facebook since it's zombie and Emma related, or to the Kay and Kale fan page if you really want to. If you come up with a cool design or cool music, I can't guarantee that I'll use it, but if you submit it and say, hey, this is just up for you to do what you want with it, I may actually just take it and put it in the comic, or use it on a live stream, or use it somewhere. So, yes, I would absolutely love that. Oh, GG. Mr. Strato. Yes, if you have music to create and you want to submit it, I'm not going to argue. That's awesome. As long as I can't promise that I'll use everything that everybody sends to me, obviously. But I love the interaction and people submitting work. And, it's so hard to... Okay, I'm going to end with this. There was something that kind of occurred to me a couple days ago, and this is kind of where I kind of realized... this is where I realized just kind of the... man, it's so hard to put into words. This is where I realized the absolute core, like the soul of the comic. The soul of the comic, right? And just the importance of it, right? Like, I always consider myself a fan artist, right? Like, I loved League of Legends. I did all this fan art of it before I decided to go work there, right? And I was always just being inspired by all these, video games, Resident Evil, and, all these old classic video games and art styles and all this stuff. And literally, I was working on the comic one day, right? And I was just drawing a panel, and I'm always just like in this feeling of like creating fan art, right? Or I'm creating something that's based off of something else. But then it just like hit me. It's like I'm creating like this exact panel, this exact drawing is the comic. This is the vision. This is the exact style of what it is. Like, it's the soul. It's the soul of the comic. And what I'm creating is my idea. And it's like, it was created from literally nothing. And now people like it. They're reading it. And they're creating fan art of it now. Like, it was that realization that literally everything that I've done up to this point has been worth it. And I hope that came across right. I don't want to like sound like I'm blowing myself up or anything, but it's just like, it's so cool. And I really like, this is what I want to say. Like, this is the message that I'm trying to send to people, like, by doing this, is that you can create something from nothing. You can have an idea up here and you can literally make it. You can create it. It's almost like you're a god of comics, right? And I just think that's something that's so awesome that I think everybody can do, whether it's writing, a book, or a comic, or whatever. I think it's just so cool how we can create things in our minds and literally manifest them into the physical realm. And I think a lot of people just like hold themselves back because they want it to be perfect, or they don't feel like they have the right resources or whatever to make it work. So, I don't know, it's just kind of something that I hold really strongly, like, in my heart, that I just want people to not be afraid of doing what they want and creating what they're passionate, right? Creating what they're passionate about. Because I feel like the world would be such a better place if people just did it, If they just stopped worrying about what everybody else was going to say and stop worrying about it being perfect and just like almost create things for yourself. If it's good enough for you to like it and for your close friends or whoever else is working on it to like it, then it's good enough. Like, and it's not only good enough, it's actually excellent. It's actually exactly what it should be. But at the point where you start making decisions based around like what everybody else wants, and you start thinking, I gotta make sure that all these people like this, and I don't want to like maybe offend these people, or maybe, it's like, just be conscious of how, like, the message that you're sending. But really, if you like it and you're creating it, then that's a good sign. If you let everybody else tell you what your life is supposed to be and what you're creating has to be, then it's going to become very diluted, and lame, and cheesy, and nobody's going to like it anyway. So, oh man, kind of. The words of the day are kind of. Yes, my inspirational moments. I have these every once in a while. So, alright guys, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you guys for sticking around. I hope that that was worth your time. I am going to go ahead and bid thee farewell. I am excited to see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be moving into the colors. Until then, see you guys tomorrow.